autonomous red teaming and autonomous penetration testing, which Gartner came up with this name. We were at Fire Compass calling it continuous automated red teaming, or CART. So philosophically, it's the same thing. So Gartner terminology is autonomous red teaming. So what's your thoughts on autonomous red teaming, Ryan?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's really gonna, I think, continue to expand and grow, just because it's so important. So like when you look at the overall hype cycle, right? You look at vulnerability assessment, right? Being all the way at the point of like we've found a way to do an assessment on vulnerability and know how to work with it as an organization. Like that's awesome. Like you tie that back into the innovation side where now I take, we have thousands of vulnerabilities in networks. How do I take the ability to be able to assess and know what to do with the vulnerability and now do it at a continuous scale that we're able to, see it, patch it, or build a workarounds, and then test and ensure that what we've put in place is actually protecting us from that. And that's, I think, what's really driving this is that we're really good at identifying vulnerabilities. We're not as good at putting patches in or putting workarounds in because, as we both know, that maybe 60% of all vulnerabilities have a patch. And most of the stuff you have to segment or work something else around or hide it from being exposed. But by able to do this autonomous testing, we can put things in place and continuously look at, I built a protection, is that protection working, right? Because we as defenders want to be able to know that the thing we put in place is actually, we don't want to wait till it actually gets hit and then, oh, it didn't, the thing we thought we was going to work didn't work. So we're going to see more and more companies adopting kind of this strategy going forward of building things, testing it, and making that kind of that OODA loop life cycle, right? That observe, orient, decide, and act, right? And each one of those components, you're probably going to have to evolve something else to deal with the new threat or what else came out that day. So being able to do this at speed or at scale is going to be the challenge, but something we need to address as our, again, our attack surface continues to expand. But something I think we're going to see grow really fast and become much more adopted across the industry.
Yeah. So interestingly, Ryan, as you were talking, I was kind of remembering a couple of decades back when application security testing was largely manual.
Mm-hmm.
So it was largely manual, right? I mean, I remember those days when WASC was there and WASP was there. WASC has today vanished. I mean, most of the classes of WASC, I mean, people had to do manually. I mean, just a few classes could be automated. And today, I mean, most of application security testing, apart from some of those business logic testing and deeper testing, I mean, is automated, right? So as an industry over a decade, it got uh, largely automated. And I see a similar kind of trend happening for red teaming as well. And the reason why I see that trend kind of happening is because, I mean, it's not because that technologically we did not, as an industry, have the capability to do that. We had the capability to do it earlier as well, but there was less of need for it. But today, the
Yeah.
drivers are really prominent because, I mean, just like we are doing this digital transformation, all the bad guys, the fraud guys, they have also done the digital transformation. They're also not able to go out on street and do their stuff, right? So they're also going online. So today, all the bad guys have great automation and they are doing these continuous attacks. So if the bad guys are doing continuous attacks, we also need to do the same thing, right? So that's
Right.
one very important thing. And the second challenge is that the usual vulnerability assessment tools just throws a lot of issues. And theoretically, yes, I mean, all those are important. But which one should I prioritize, right? Like the one with the problem of patching that you mentioned. How do I prioritize? So if I have to prioritize it right, I need to probably know which are the attacks which are most, most likely, and which are the ones which somebody could actually exploit and get into, right? So, kind of better prioritization is very, very necessary. And such kind of autonomous red teaming, which does the adversary emulation or does exactly like what an adversary would do, is something which can help you to not just find those issues a lot faster. That's definitely one. I mean, you get to know a lot faster. And secondly, it also helps you to prioritize. And thirdly, the usual ASM tools, attack surface management tools, throws a lot of findings. There's a lot of false positives. So when you go and do the attacks, you actually remove those noise. So it kind of solves quite a few problems and does the best kind of adversary emulation from outside in. So that's the reason why I believe that this is something which, as an industry, we must have to scale and do it. We must discover all our assets continuously. We must test all our assets continuously, because of a simple reason that today the adversary is doing exactly the same thing. All the nation state actors have got this capability. All the ransomware groups have got this capability. So we have no way out. We must do that. So I was quite happy to see this a couple of markets coming up, including Chasm. I mean, we don't operate in the Chasm or CASM field,